Gaslighting is a form of manipulation and emotional abuse, which can be hard to notice if we've grown up in it our entire lives. Since it can be so difficult to recognize, here are the 7 signs your parents are gaslighting you. Number 7, they repeatedly refute or deny your experience. This is a classic gaslighting move because the goal of gaslighting is to get you to question your own memory or reality through manipulation. Denying our past experience or memory of an event is how they slowly erode our trust in ourselves and our ability to recall past events. And when this is done repeatedly, possibly since we were young, we may not feel we can trust ourselves at all, always looking to other people to validate our experience, or even immediately minimizing what happened unless someone else agrees. They can say things like, "Oh, you aren't really upset with what happened, you're just tired." This can be detrimental to our self-esteem and confidence, which in turn makes us easier to control. We can start to doubt everything we thought we knew. And this can make our future relationships tricky and possibly toxic too, because we're always looking to other people to tell us what we think, feel, or experience, which can lead to us picking friends and partners that are just like our parents. Moving on to number 6, they refuse to take any responsibility for things that happened, blaming it on you or others instead. And this means that they won't apologize for their role in something or admit that they did anything wrong. Again, we have to remember that gaslighting is a form of manipulation, and by never owning up to their role in a painful experience, they're trying to force us to believe that it was someone else's fault. They can even take it a step further and claim that they're the victim, and they need you or someone else to own up to what you did. It can be an incredibly confusing experience to have this play out, because not only are they denying our experience, but they're also fabricating another one. And they can lay on the guilt by always leaning into their alleged pain, which, if we're empathic, as most of us are, we can struggle to not apologize for whatever it is they're claiming. It's completely confusing and disorienting, which, remember, is the goal of gaslighting. Sign number 5 that your parents are gaslighting you: they say you're too sensitive or overreacting. This is another way that they try to deny our experience or refuse to take responsibility. It doesn't matter what our emotional response is, it's going to be too much or too dramatic for them. They will try and downplay what we went through or claim that we're just being overly sensitive. And if that's not enough, they can even claim that if we had just listened to them, things would have been better. For example, if we're upset about the way an interaction happened at work, they can tell us that we're just being dramatic, and if we'd done what they'd said and confronted that coworker months ago, then none of this would have happened. And because of this, the close correlation with narcissism and gaslighting, you will see and even feel the elevated sense of self that they can have. They always think they know better, do better, and are right all the time. When we're upset, especially if it's with them, they will try to minimize, invalidate, and deflect the blame. Moving right along to sign number 4, and this one may be a little counterintuitive, so hang with me. They lay on the compliments and care, here's the kicker, when they need something. Now, this is actually part of the love bombing stage, which is an imperative component of gaslighting because it pulls us close to them and continues to keep us held in the cycle of abuse. They will tell us that we are the most smart, thoughtful person that they know, and that without us, they would be lost. They can even buy us gifts, take us on trips, and want to spend all of their time with us. We can feel, especially if we have other siblings, we can feel like the favorite one all of a sudden, like we're the best child, because they want to do everything with us, and they get us extra goodies and gifts that they don't get our other siblings. And because anyone would love to be complimented and loved on, especially from a parent, right? We need it. We can enjoy this and stick around for it. And this can leave us more vulnerable to their manipulation because we believed them when they were saying all those nice things. Why would the bad things be any different, right? The painful and abusive side of this is that the love bombing is short-lived. And once they get what they want, like attention, validation, or even maybe some more private information, It will quickly devolve into more put-downs and name-calling. Sign number 3, they will say that everyone around them is a liar. Anyone who thinks they are to blame or remembers them doing something hurtful just has it out for them or is lying. They can even get other people like their spouse, a friend, or other family members to agree with their lies. And these people who agree are often called flying monkeys because they kind of do the bidding of the narcissist. And yes, this term did come from The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy runs from the Wicked Witch's flying monkeys. And you might be wondering why someone else would do this. Like, why would you put up with that? Why would they believe their lies over the experience of someone else? Well, most likely it's because they've only heard one person's side of the story, and they are probably also being gaslit or even love bombed. So it's going to be hard for them to be unbiased and see the situation for what it is. That's why a huge part of our healing and what can make us more resistant to this is to have our own friends and support system outside of our family. They won't get sucked into their lies as easily and will be able to hear us out and help us check our facts on a situation. And sign number 2, they use the things you love against you. When a gaslighter knows a lot about us, they can use that to their advantage. They can know how much we love our close friend group. And instead of supporting that, they will try and poke at the people we care about, saying that this one friend was talking about us behind our back. They heard them. Or they will make comments about how unmotivated or what a bad influence one of them is. They will slowly try to distance us from them so that we have to rely on them more. And this could also play out in things that we love to do for ourselves. Like, let's say we've decided to try a new class or we really enjoy our new job. They'll try to point out things that they see wrong with it or wrong with the way that we're doing it. Or even say that we're being taken advantage of and should just quit. They will do whatever they can to take away anything we hold dear so that we have them and only them to rely on. And finally, sign number 1, they are enmeshed with you. When there aren't healthy boundaries between where we end and where our parents begin, we can start to think that their response or emotional experience is ours and vice versa. And this can make it impossible for us to grow on our own and have our own subjective experience. Parents who are meshed may not even realize it and see it as them protecting their child from, the bad feelings. But by doing so, they aren't giving us an opportunity to experience all of our natural emotions and process them, which can lead to us stuffing down any feeling that we think is bad and not knowing how to regulate our system when we feel overwhelmed. And this example really impairs our growth and can even impact our future relationships. Now, I know that that's a lot to keep up with. So in summation, here are the 7 signs our parents are gaslighting us. Number 1, it's really number 7. They repeatedly refute or deny your experience. Number 6, they refuse to take any responsibility for things that happened. Number 5, they say you're too sensitive or you're overreacting. Number 4, they lay on the compliments and care when they need. Number 3, everyone around them is a liar. Number 2, they use things that we love against us. And number 1, they are enmeshed with you. Okay, so if we think this is happening, what can we do? Number 1, we check our facts. Do we know what actually happened? Anything we can prove, maybe we actually have a receipt or a photo or something. Be a detective and see what you can find. And remember, facts are not emotions. It's simply what took place. So check your facts, even check in with other people, see what they remember. Let's put this case together. Number 2, we can work on building up our own support system. This can even help us check the facts because we'll have another person who isn't under their spell to talk with and see what they remember, or to help us see where we're being reasonable and maybe areas where we're being manipulated. Number 3, place and uphold healthy boundaries. If you didn't know, I have a boundaries workshop that's available on my website. I talk about everything from what boundaries are, the different boundaries that exist in our life, how to place them, how to uphold them, and what to do if someone doesn't respect them. So if you're interested, you can click the link in the description, head over to my website, and access it now. But I know boundaries can be hard, hence the workshop, right? Especially because these people that we're trying to set these boundaries with are our parents. And they raised us to not have any boundaries, because then how would they manipulate us? So being able to pay attention to natural boundaries, like things that you find exhausting, or when they say certain things and you find it jarring or upsetting. Like one of the examples I usually offer personally, this doesn't have to do specifically with parents, but is when I'm out in a public place that's kind of crowded and someone I don't know comes up from behind and touches me on the back to get around me. I don't like it. Ooh, it gives me all the bad feels. That's a natural physical boundary. Like I don't like someone touching me that I don't know, especially from behind me. It gives me the willies. So that is an indicator of a boundary being crossed. So just pay attention to those. Our body and our brain innately, they tell us when boundaries have been crossed. Remember that boundaries aren't about control or telling someone else what to do. They're about what we will do as a result of that. They can be spoken or not, depending on how they'll be implemented. Like if we aren't going to respond to their mean or name-calling texts, then we just don't respond. But if we're going to leave the home when they start to talk to us that way, we might want to let them know that that's going to happen and why that's happening. We would hope that they would respect our boundaries and change their ways, but remember, we can't control other people or make them be better. I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to share your own thoughts or experience in those comments down below, and I will see you next week.